Hey friends, it's Mel. Welcome back to another What's for Dinner. I hope you're ready for some quick, easy meals. Just sit on back, relax, grab you some sweet tea, and let me do the cooking. Hey friends, it's Mel. Welcome to my kitchen. This week's What's for Dinner is sort of a hodgepodge. It's not a theme type meal. It's definitely what we ate for dinner this week. I've got a Copycat fast food meal we had one night. I had some of that leftover chicken that I used in a skillet meal. I'll show you what I did with the rest of that. And tonight we're going to make a hamburger casserole together. So let's get to it. Okie dokie, I just finished up this pot of little macaroni shells cooking up right here. And this was 8 ounces. And I used these little bitty small shells. I thought these would be really pretty, and I believe this is what the recipe showed too. And then here I've got a pound of actually brisket. This is still eaten off of that brisket that my husband bought a while back and had ground up into ground beef. So I am got that defrosted. I just didn't get it all the way through there. But I've got this browning up. While I've got that cooking up, I'm going to go ahead and dice up this little onion here. I just need about half a cup of onion. And need half a cup of bell pepper. And I have some frozen that I'm going to use for that. I've got some fresh bell pepper, but I've kind of already got it chopped up for salads and stuff like that. And I think in this recipe, I just want green. I don't want like a lot of colors in this. This recipe is from Becky at the Cookie Rookie. And I have made a number of recipes of Becky's. And none of them have ever steered me wrong. They've every one been delicious. And this one just doesn't look like it's going to be any exception. I'll go back and link some videos up at the top of my description box of some of the other videos where I have recipes included by Becky. Okay, this ground beef is almost done. While it's finishing off, I just wanted to tell y'all a couple things here. My grocery haul Wednesday, I took that chicken back. In case you missed my community tab post about it, I did take that chicken back. Of course, they did not give me any trouble about it. They totally understood. So I did that. Got me a smaller pack that was not all puffy. So got that took care of. Y'all was real concerned about me eating that chicken. I did not. You guys know how I am about like food safety and stuff. I'm just not going to be taking any kind of chances like that. So got that, and then I also, that community tab has a picture of the punch that I was talking about that I showed you guys on Wednesday. I showed you like the Pinterest picture. Well, if you go look on my community tab, I've got a picture of my actual punch. I may insert it here for you too. But y'all went crazy over that, and it is so cute. It's so easy. And it's so cute. I mean, whoever just thought of that idea was just so smart. But anyhow, I wanted to share that with you. And I've got that recipe pinned in my grocery haul video from this week if you want to grab that. Also, just want to take a minute to tell you, if you don't follow me on Instagram, a lot of times I'll do little updates over there on things that you guys are asking me about. Okay. The thing about this brisket, it doesn't have a whole bunch of fat in it. So I am not even going to drain that off, and that will be fine. Yeah, I'm not even going to drain this off. It'll be just fine. I am just going to remove the meat out of here so I can saute up some garlic and onions and that stuff. But we'll leave the grease, or the flavor, as we learned it was called from Noreen last week in her little hamburger skillet dish. That's not fat and grease, that's flavor. I think I'm just going to throw in just a little splash of oil because that's just very little. Okay, into that I'm going to put this like half cup of onions. And I've got some frozen diced green bell peppers I'm going to throw in. Oh, about the same amount, about half a cup of that. I'll toss me in a nice big spoonful of garlic. I forgot about that frozen bell pepper. I probably should not have added my garlic so soon. We'll just be really careful. Don't want that to get bitter on us. Anywho, we're going to get this kind of sauteed up, and then we'll add our meat back in, and we'll come back in with some tomatoes and tomato paste and all of our seasonings. Then we're going to do a little mixture with our noodles over here with some stuff. And this recipe, when I saw it and I started like reading the ingredients, I got the hamburger helper vibes, but like kicked up in a better way. And this dish is kind of like, you know, that veggie mac and cheese I make where you could just put all your different veggies in it. You could put more in here. Like you could put you some mixed vegetables in here, or you could just throw you some shredded carrots in. You could do a lot of different things even to bump this up. Use your colored peppers, but I just want a big salad on the side. You know how I love that. But I think this is going to be really good. And who all went and got him a Mexican pizza this week? I haven't. Now, the day before it came out, my oldest daughter, she has the Taco Bell app, and she said you could order it on the app the day before. So she went and got one. But I tell you what, it was just thrown in that box just like they always are. You know, I've also thought like there was green onions or something on the top, some olives or something, but there wasn't anything, you know, colorful on the top of it like I remembered. And like I said, it was just thrown in that box like it always is. You couldn't pick it up and eat it by the slice like a real pizza if your life depended on it. But that's all right, Taco Bell. We still love you. But let me know if you guys had to run out and get you one. Okie doke, now we're going to come in with our veggies, and I've got a can of petite diced tomatoes, like a 14.5 ounce can, and I did drain the juice off these. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and I know that's probably much more, and I'll just put this little bit that's left in a thingy and freeze it, and I'll have it for something else. So let's get that mixed in just a little. Okay, that's on its way to breaking down. Let's put our spices in here. We've got some Italian seasoning. We're going to do about a teaspoon of that. Then we're going to do about a teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of pepper. This little thing right here, it reaches down in my salt and pepper cellar to measure stuff. It gets in there so good. Much better than my little chunky fingers. Then the Worcestershire sauce. It says about a teaspoon of it. That's a little bit more, but we like Worcestershire sauce. So let's get all these stirred in now. It smells really good. Nothing smells any better to me, though, than like tomatoes and Italian seasoning. I love that smell. And onions. And garlic. I like all the smells. I just like the food smells, I guess. Okie doke. I got this little mixture all combined over here, and I've just cut it down real low. I'm just going to let it just keep simmering away over here and get all yummy and tasty. I've drained off my 8 ounces of shells that I have boiled up, and now into that I've got an 8 ounce block of cream cheese, and I've kind of chunked it up a little bit, and I've softened it some. I may stick this back in the microwave. I'm gonna soften it just a little bit. Oh yeah, I'd say I softened it real good. Look at this plate. Okay, 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to go ahead and chunk that up just a little bit too. since I'm in the chunking up business tonight. Then it calls for a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And I'm just going to eyeball this one right here. That looks about 1/2 cup to me. Okay, now I've got a greased, about a 9x13 pan. Kind of going to do this like lasagna style. You're going to take half of your noodle mixture with the cream cheese and butter and the sour cream. Okay, that looks about right to me. Then I have to change. I had a slotted spoon, so I'm switching to a not slotted spoon here. And we're going to take half of our meat mixture and put it over the top of these noodles. Try to just even it out here as best you can. Don't have to be perfect. It's in a casserole dish. It's all going to go together anyway. Then do your other layers. Now when you get to this point, you're going to take about 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese and then 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese and put it all over the top. Here comes the mozzarella. It says to bake it uncovered, and I've got my oven already preheated over here to 350 degrees. Let's give it a little bit more cheddar. Going to bake it about 25 or 30 minutes. Everything in here is cooked. You're just kind of warming it through and getting it like melted together. And then I'll probably broil it just a few minutes on the end to kind of give the brown top, like, you know, just make it pretty. So let me put this in. And while this is cooking, I'm going to put a salad together and I'll see you back. Now friends, when I said this was going to be like a glorified hamburger helper, I was 100% wrong. This was so delicious. That cream cheese and sour cream, it was just the best combination of flavors with this tomato and meat mixture. Absolutely, we all loved this. Had plenty enough for leftovers for lunch, and a couple nights I snacked on it again myself. This is a recipe I have been wanting to try for a long time. And I have about 2 cups of shredded chicken that's been thoroughly cooked. It was some of that I had in the freezer and thawed out for a meal last week. This is the other half of it. And into that, I'm putting in a little less than 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese and then about the same amount of some Monterey Jack cheese. I'm also going to put in 1 egg to use as a binder. And I'm going to use some garlic powder and some onion powder, about 1/2 teaspoon of each. I just kind of guessed here. The recipe that I am pinning calls for more chicken than this, but I just kind of estimated my ingredients. And I did use breadcrumbs in here, the panko breadcrumbs, and probably about 1/3 cup, maybe a little less. I threw in some green onions I had cut up. Oh, and I did throw in some black pepper as well. And then you're just going to mix all of this up thoroughly. Now, when I started mixing mine, I felt like it was needing a little bit more of a binding, so I did come back and put another egg in it. And then once that got mixed in, it felt pretty good to me. And you're just going to patty these out and fry them up like you would a potato cake or a salmon patty or tuna patty. And I just fried them in some oil in my cast iron skillet, a few minutes on each side. Everything's cooked. You're just getting it, you know, nice and browned. And I had had this recipe pinned for a long time and just wasn't sure about it. And I saw Jen at Cook, Clean, and Repeat make these, and she said they were delicious. We agreed. I was happy to try them after I saw somebody else make them. Look inside how yummy Such a great way to use up any leftover chicken, rotisserie chicken, even just canned chicken. Now I will say the next time I make mine, I think I'll put a little bit of mayonnaise in my mixture, or you could use a little ranch dressing in there, but we loved those. Now another night of the week, we have been wanting to make these Copycat Arby sandwiches. This is so easy. And this one, I actually doubled the sauce. So I started out with an entire cup of ketchup, about 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of onion powder, and then a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. I do use 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and I started out with about 8 tablespoons of water and about a half a teaspoon of salt. I will have you a pin linked in the description box for this sauce. This is what makes it. This tastes just like Arby sauce. My husband always says that he likes this better, and you're just going to cook that until it gets coming up just to a simmer, and then cut it back and let it simmer about 20 minutes on the stove. Now the way that I do my roast beef, I just either use a can of this beef consomme or a couple of cups of beef broth. You can see how that sauce just gets a little bit thicker, and it just looks just like Arby sauce. Right as my sauce and everything else is ready, I'll bring that broth up to a boil, and you're just going to use some thin sliced roast beef. I just use packaged from the grocery store, and you're just going to put it down into your broth there and make sure it all gets covered. And you don't want it boiling too hard, you just want it to really warm it up. The only thing that you have to be careful here is this just does not take but just a couple of seconds, really. If you leave it in there too long, your roast beef will get kind of tough and sort of shriveled up on you. So, I mean, it just takes a few seconds, and that gives it the best flavor. And there is the roast beef that I use from Kroger's. I take it right out of that and kind of dribble the broth off of it, put it right on a big bun. Sometimes I toast them, but we were just pretty hungry and ready to go this night. Pour that wonderful sauce over the top of it, and I like to serve these with the curly fries, but I just didn't have any. But I did have 5 pounds of regular French fries, so that's what we had. My husband likes these sweet and spicy snacking pickles with his, and me and Maddie love the little dill pickle spears with ours. Friends, every one of these meals was so quick and so easy. These may not have been the healthiest meals this week, but sometimes life is busy and you need something quick and you want something good. You just get to craving things sometimes. I hope you've enjoyed this week's video and got some new ideas, maybe some ways to use up some leftovers with these chicken patties, and how to make you some good takeout fast food at home. As always, I appreciate you watching so much. I never take for granted the time that you set aside to spend with me. And until Wednesday, remember, I always send you love from my kitchen.